with the Fantastic Four movie revealed a few years ago, and obviously Eternals 2, which is pretty much confirmed after the first Eternals film, Galactus is a massive villain in obviously Marvel Comics, and I'm guessing Marvel, the MCU aren't going to miss the opportunity. They are obviously going to use Galactus, and I think Galactus as a villain of Avengers 5 would be perfect, but obviously, but should he stay as a villain of just Eternals 2 or maybe the Fantastic Four, or should they make him the Avengers 5 villain? So the MCU is expanding after the Infinity Saga, and obviously so are the villains, and many villains are going to be coming to the MCU over the next few years. Big villains like MODOK, Doctor Doom, Kang, obviously, as we've seen. There's so many more, and obviously one big one of them is Galactus, and Galactus in Marvel Comics, as I said before, is a massive villain, and Kevin Feige definitely will not miss the opportunity to use him in the MCU. But Avengers 5 has been heavily rumoured recently. Secret Wars is going to be coming in the future, and obviously Kang is the big villain of this all, and obviously Doctor Doom will be as well, obviously, as that's going to be incredible. But Galactus for now I think could be a really good small villain for the Avengers, for Avengers 5, and I think they could do it in a good way. Galactus is obviously a Fantastic Four villain as well, and obviously a few years ago in 2019 Fantastic Four obviously got revealed that there would be a film in the future, and obviously as we saw in Multiverse Madness, Reed Richards, from the Fantastic Four, we saw him, and I think that's a pretty big hint that it's coming very soon as well, from obviously the confirmation in 2019. And Galactus is a big villain in those comics, and obviously he did create Silver Surfer, and it is kind of his henchman sort of. And Eternals 2 would be a good film to maybe have him as the post-credit scene. He was supposed to be in Eternals 1, and it would make sense because he is a Celestial, and yeah, Eternals is all about Celestials and stuff. And obviously I think we all know that Eternals 2 is pretty much confirmed, and the villain of that is probably confirmed as well with Arishem. The whole point in Eternals 2 is sort of going to be saving the original, the Eternals that got captured by Arishem and whatever for Judgment Day because of them saving Earth during the emergence of Tiamat. So yeah, I think that will be pretty cool to see if Galactus will be the post-credit scene of that, and then maybe it depends what they're going to do with Galactus. Maybe he will be the villain of the Fantastic Four movie, or he'll be the villain of Avengers 5. Now, Avengers 5, the villain could be MODOK as well. I think that would be pretty cool as well. So either one, Galactus or MODOK, them two would be pretty cool villains for Avengers 5, which, is definitely going to be coming very soon. But obviously there's a lot more projects that Kevin Feige obviously wants to get done first before making the Avengers 5. Obviously the Russo brothers have also said about them making a potential return into the MCU for Avengers 5, which is going to be very awesome because obviously the two made Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, and both were obviously absolutely incredible. So Avengers 5 is definitely on the horizon, but the villain of that film is obviously uncertain. Obviously we're not sure. Obviously if it was Galactus, it will probably be mainly in Earth. In space probably, because Galactus is sort of, he's more of one of those villains. Obviously he eats planets, and not literally, but he absorbs the energy from each planet, and then which basically means he's eating the planet, which is, if you've played the first Lego Marvel Superheroes, he is the villain of that game. So they could potentially do something like that. Maybe he sends minions down instead to Earth, and that's when like the likes of Captain America, Falcon can deal with that, and then Captain Marvel and stuff like that can deal with Galactus in space. Maybe the Eternals could make an appearance in the Avengers 5 as well, but we're not too sure. That could happen. It would be pretty cool to see if it did. But yeah, I think Galactus is a very cool villain, and for Fantastic Four as well, I think there is a lot more villains they could do for that film. Obviously, like I said earlier with Doctor Doom, I think Doctor Doom is more of a villain that Kevin Feige and the MCU want for the future, with obviously Kang that we have seen. I think Kang and Doctor Doom, they have a big history in the comics, and I think it would be a waste of potential not to have that in the MCU as well. So I think having Doctor Doom as the main villain of Fantastic Four wouldn't be a very good idea, because obviously he would probably have to die in that film, or they would have to obviously injure him or whatever, because Doctor Doom is definitely going to be the puppet mate, like the controller of Secret Wars. He is definitely, I think he will be the person that starts it. obviously Kang will be watching over. Obviously, it's very we're not sure where it's going at the moment, but obviously very soon, Kevin Feige said at Comic-Con we will get a better idea of what the future is holding for the MCU and what, you know, the kind of it's leading up to for the big project. Obviously, you had Endgame and the Infinity Saga, and I think we already have a big clue of what this saga is. It's definitely a multiversal saga, obviously, which is absolutely incredible, where I think we all knew where the MCU would go after the Infinity Saga. Obviously about the Infinity Stones in the first saga, now it's kind of about the multiverse now in this one with Kang and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, with Galactus for Avengers 5, I think he would be an amazing villain to have for Avengers 5, but I think if they couldn't really make it make sense, I think there are more villains, like I said earlier, with MODOK, and obviously other villains that they could do. Obviously the first Avengers was Loki, second one was Ultron, third and fourth was Thanos. So, you know, I think Avengers 5 could definitely have Galactus as the main villain, but it depends what they want to do with it. I doubt he'll be the villain of Eternals 2, so I think if he isn't the villain of Avengers 5, I think his most likely destination of being the villain would probably be Fantastic Four, seeing that he is a Fantastic Four villain. But obviously the MCU don't always go off the comics. That's not what Kevin Feige wants to do. Obviously they want to change it up from the comics a lot. Obviously if they did it based on the comics, it would be a bit boring and you would expect what's going to happen. So Kevin Feige is definitely going to, you know, change things around like he obviously has done for the past few years, which is amazing, and he's done an amazing job, which he will continue doing. And I think Galactus could either way, it would be absolutely incredible to see Galactus in the MCU, but we're not sure what he'll be the villain of yet. I think Avengers 5 would be cool, but so would Fantastic Four. So, but then again, there is a lot of villains that could be the Fantastic Four main villain of that film. But yeah, tell me what you guys feel about this. Do you think Galactus should be the villain of Avengers 5, or do you think he should be the villain of Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four movie, which is, you know, we haven't got much news on recently, or we haven't got a confirmation yet. I'm guessing maybe we'll get something at Comic-Con for that, but then again, we haven't really heard much about the casting or the writer of that film or anything really. So maybe next year we'll get more of a confirmation on that, or maybe at the end of this year. You know, there's still two big expeditions, I guess you could say, that have Marvel news. You know, we still have the Disney Expo, which is after Comic-Con, and obviously Kevin Feige said that they would be saying a lot at Comic-Con, but I think we'll be getting more news at Disney Plus Day or whatever, the Disney Expo. I think we'll get more news there than we will at Comic-Con, because I think Kevin Feige will just lay out what the future holds for the MCU and the next saga, and then obviously the Disney Expo will find out a lot more of like secret projects that we may not know about, or projects that are coming in the future. So yeah, obviously, like I just said, tell us down below how you feel about Galactus being the villain of Avengers 5, or would you rather him be the villain of Fantastic Four? So yeah, I hope you had a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.